Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our dear brother. The message that he sent to me, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? So, Brother Nashi, this is what I have been doing to my friend. And this friend of mine is someone that is a very kind-hearted man, and he takes me as if I am his own brother, but he does not even know that I am busy sleeping with his own wife. And as for his wife, it is not like she is a prostitute, but I want to confess to the whole world that I have been using some charms on her, and I keep on using these charms on her because ever since she got married to my friend, I kept on lasting after her. Even right now, I do lust after this woman. So I have been sleeping with my friend's wife like for a very long time. Yes, she is not loose, but it is because of the charms that I used on her. So there was a time when me and my friend, we used to go to work to this other place that was far from our village. So what I used to do is that each and every time when I would have gotten some money, then I'll return back home to see my family. So when I'll be returning back home, since my friend was always chasing after money, then he will say, oh, take this money, my friend, and when you are in town, can you please buy some groceries? And when you would have arrived in the village, I want you to give these groceries to my wife. And at that time, I saw that this was the perfect opportunity that I could ever get to use charms on his wife. So I would go into town, and then I would buy my groceries that I would go and give to my wife, and I will buy some groceries as well that I would give to my friend's wife. So I then bought, on this other particular trip, I went and I bought the groceries, and when I arrived in the village, I did not go to my friend's house the same time. I first was dropped at this other traditional healer's house with those charms and the groceries. And when the traditional healer used the charms on the groceries, he then told me that he was going to keep the groceries at his house because he wanted to use more charms on those groceries before he would have given them back to me. He said that the next morning I was supposed to return back to his consultation room so that we can continue with our consultation. And he said that I want you to make sure that when you are returning back here, your friend's wife is not going to see that you are back in the village. So I did, Brother Nashi. At that time, I then returned back to that traditional healer's house, and I collected the groceries with the charms and everything. When I was returning back, that was when I gave her the groceries. So this traditional healer as well had told me that I was supposed to find some time to pick up some soil from her compound. So what I did is that I told my wife that a man had to go and drink his alcohol. So I had gone and I had been drinking some alcohol at the village market. After I had finished drinking my alcohol, I started pretending as if I was really drunk, and I started walking towards my home, and I went past her compound. And when I was getting past her house, that was when I started dragging myself as if I was a drunkard until I stopped at her gate and I picked up the soil. So I did. After I had picked up the soil, I then went into the bushes, sobered up, and I returned back to the traditional healer's house, who then told me to go with one of his assistants into the mountains. So we then went into the mountains. When we climbed on top of that mountain, that was when we found this other rock. But when we found that rock, we were supposed to get this other small plant that is called Mufandichi Muka, and this tree in English, it is called a Christmas tree. So this tree, what it does, the reason as to why it is called Mufandichi Muka, it is because during the dry season, it seems as if it would have died, but once the raining season would have started, then that small tree, it will start to get green. So we looked for a rock that had that same tree, And when we found one, that was when I was told to pull down my pants by the traditional healer's assistants, and I was supposed to urinate on that small tree. So I did. I pulled down my pants and I started urinating. And when I was urinating, I was then told that I had to tell the spirit of my friend's wife everything that I wanted to happen to her, everything that I wanted to happen between me and my friend's wife. So I was like, I want you, babe, and I want you to be mine, but I don't want you to dump your husband. I want you to stay with your husband, but you have to know this. I was doing this when I was urinating. I am going to be the man that will be controlling you. When I say jump, you're going to ask me how high. You will never question me. Whenever I feel like making love to you, oh woman, you cannot resist me. Do you hear me? You cannot resist me. You won't be able to resist me. Then after that, when I had finished urinating, the traditional healer's assistant then told me that I was supposed to pick up the soil on which I had urinated on, and I was supposed to hold it. And then we climbed down from the mountain and we went to that traditional healer's house. And then when I was walking back home, Brother Nashi, that was when I walked really close to her house. Then I started to sprinkle that soil that I had picked up in the mountain close to her house. And then Brother Nashi, she then told one of her son to come and call me, and she told me that she was having some problems. And when I went to her house, she told me that she had seen a snake in her bedroom. And I said, a snake, where is that snake? Let us go and kill that snake. So we walked to her bedroom, but to my surprise, do you think that a woman that would have seen a snake would want to go into her dark bedroom? And I knew that the charms were already working on her. So I followed her behind, as if I did not know that she wanted to sleep with me. When we were in her bedroom, I was like, where is the snake? She was just pointing everywhere. She said, it was here, it was there, it was here, it was there. And then I knew what I was supposed to do. I then called their kids and I said, can you go into the forest? And I sent them into a forest that was very far. I wanted them to walk to that place so that I can have the time to sleep with their mother. And when they went there, Brother Nashi, that was when I moved towards the place where she was standing. She looked at me, Brother Nashi, and I then started touching her. And when I started touching her, she then said, we cannot do this. And I said, no, we have to do this. And she said, please, can we do it later? What if my kids will return back and will be busy making love? Please, let us wait later on when my kids have fallen fast asleep. So I hanged around until she had sent her kids to bed. After that, we then started sleeping together. From that day until now, I have been sleeping with my friend's wife. So whenever it is during the dry season, then her love for me will go dry, just like that Christmas tree. It goes dry during the dry season. And whenever the plant would have received some water during the raining season, when the plant will go green again, that is when she will start to love me again. So I have been doing this to my friend's wife for the longest time. And I love her. She really has a nice body structure, the one that I like. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear brother. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world.